Paula here. So we're going to go ahead and start the training on influential rapport building. And so before we get started, how are you guys doing? How's the audio going for you? Yeah, so influential rapport building, what does that mean? And what is the purpose of what we're actually doing on this presentation today? My goal on this training is to help you to be able to connect better with people so you can sell like a pro. So you can sell without actually feeling as if, you're actually selling, and people also don't feel that with you. Some of the problems that I see today in social media, and sorry if you can hear outside, it's actually raining here in Johannesburg today, so that's why you can hear the thunder outside. So, as I was saying, some of the problems that I see in social media today is that people friend, but they don't really friend other people. They're like, you people on your social media, but you never actually talk to them, you don't connect with them, nothing. Like, it's just not a very nice thing to do. And people do not buy from other people on their socials because they don't just see the point. Because you have a friendship with this person on Facebook, or so you actually not you're actually not friends. So when they have a problem and they want to get it sorted, they don't see the point in actually approaching you to solve that problem for them. And the third problem I see, especially on socials this time around, is that people come on socials and expect to get sales within a week. It's all because they don't understand sales, the process, and part of that process is obviously rapport building, and that's the reason as to why we're actually going into rapport building today. Rapport building on its own, it's a very, very interesting topic, a very good skill to have, but for today, we're just going to be focusing on it as a salesperson's tool. And this is someone who is in business for themselves, or who is in any form of position where they have to sell products and services. So, who is a salesperson? This is a very good one. I found this dictionary meaning because I like to give it a meaning. Everybody actually has some sort of understanding before we actually go forward. Who is a salesperson? So according to Cambridge Dictionary, it says it's a person whose job is to sell things in a store or by visiting or phoning customers and possible customers. Oxford Dictionary define it as a person whose job is to sell goods. Both definitions are correct. It's just, for me personally, they do not do any justification for me. I don't see the point for me as a salesperson to define it as this. This is what I look at when I'm saying a salesperson. A person who is tasked with bringing revenue in for an entity. It doesn't have to be, a company or a whatever. It's an entity. That person is tasked with bringing revenue in for an entity from every source available to him. So whether that be online, offline, events, everyday life, at school, hospital, grocery store, wherever it is that you are, that for me is what my definition of what a salesperson actually is. And in a nutshell, I put it here as a person who is able to build beyond surface level with the purpose of getting the other party to purchase. Basic things you should already know before we actually get into all of this training is that obviously for you to sell, you have to be genuinely interested in other people. If you do ever want to actually build rapport with them, very important here. And this is one thing I always tell my students, that I can teach you everything else, just like my mentor says, but I cannot teach you how to actually genuinely care about other people. Being a good listener, remembering someone's name. When people are talking to you, smile. Don't just be like, When you smile, you kind of like break down people's defense systems. see things from the other person's perspective instead of like talking over them. Talk in terms of the other person's interest, and that's a very good one. Talking in terms of other person's interest. For the ladies here, if you ever fight with your husband, ever like just do that a lot and it works awesome. So influential rapport. Three things we're going to be covering here for influential rapport is our personality type, active listening, and tonality. Those are the three things that influential rapport actually consists of. You knowing what the personality type is to the person by actively listening to them, taking time to actually listen to what the person is actually saying because you care about them, and also the different tonalities that we can use in those scenarios of building rapport. Um, so what is rapport? Here is a dictionary, definition again: a close and harmonious relationship in which people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well. For me, it's the act of removing emotional barriers someone has placed around themselves as defense. We all have this, whether you are not, like because each and every person is different, so we all have our own defense mechanism that we just automatically have, and we don't even realize we actually have it. When should you build rapport, and why should you build rapport? You build rapport to create a deeper relationship, not just surface level. Surface level. So say you go to an hotel now, and like the waiter or whoever serves you like a coffee or whatever, and you go, oh yeah, thank you, so how you doing? How's your family doing this coronavirus? And da 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 da. Oh, okay, all right, cool. See you later. Bye. Yeah, that is a surface level relationship. You have no intention of taking that relationship away from that restaurant or that hotel. It's just a one-time thing, and you leave it there. Yeah, and when should you build it? When you're trying to sell people something, when you want people utmost secrets, you can build rapport then, and these are the reasons as to why you should build it. For your friends and your family, if you want to communicate better with them, you want to build rapport with them. There's always that one person in the family that you just don't get along. For myself, I'm a Ruby Emerald, and I can also be really sapphire when I'm actually selling. But growing up, I had my uncle, and he was a pure emerald to the core. It was, and we always used to have issues, and not until I actually understood the reason as to why rapport is so important. I just used to always think that, you know what, maybe he just doesn't like me, which is not the case, because we just like two different kind of people with two different personalities. So the point I'm trying to make is that rapport is important in all aspects of life, and if you can master it, you are literally able to influence people. You're able to do that. You can get them to buy your product and buy your services, and it doesn't seem salesy. Some people, they come onto social media and they expect people to buy from them in just a week when they've barely even said one word to that person or two words to that person. Why should I buy anything from you? We don't rapport, meaning I don't know you, I don't like you, and really, seriously, I don't trust you. So these are some of the reasons as to why you should build rapport, because we all have different values, like I explained with my uncle that was an emerald, and I am a ruby mostly. In person to buy from you, they want to feel like they know you. Just give me a second, guys. In order for a person to buy from you, they want to feel like they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And because people only like people who have to switch to that person that you intend to sell to. And that sounds bad, like you're shape shifting or whatever, but it really isn't what it is. You just have to be able to switch through different personality, because otherwise, people are of the opinion that and you see this a lot, when you actually speaking to some people. Like, I really struggle to actually speak with emeralds, because I just really find them like really exhausting. So sometimes when you actually talk to people and you feel like this person, I don't know, like, they just like all over the place or whatever, you feel like, yeah, she doesn't get me. It's because there's no rapport there, and there are different things, obviously, that consist of rapport, but the reason as to why you feel that way is because there's no rapport there. So, for example, this is a good example. Let's say we have a lady and her name is Jory, and she wants Christian shoes. And we've got another lady, and her name is Cameron, and she wants a Nike shoe. Both are women, 28 years of age, married with kids. They both want to look attractive. So the client avatar is basically like the same when you look at it on the sheet here. But you cannot sell to them with the same approach. The reason why is because Jory, you're going to have to develop a different kind of rapport to sell to her. And Tamara, you're going to sell to her using a different rapport based on what they value the most. So our job here is to find personality commonality to show Jory that Jory, hey, I also Christian Louboutin shoes, and that's the reason why you should buy Christian Louboutin shoes from me, because you and I are just exactly the same. And the same thing if I'm going to sell to Tamarin a Nike shoe. And Tamarin, you and I are just basically the same thing. So that's the reason why I want to sell you Nike shoe, because I know it's like to want a Nike shoe. They are two different kind of people, even though on the paper we put it there as two kind of people in the same avatar, but it's not when you're talking about rapport. Why? Why do we have to know like that? Why do we have to build this personality commonality with them, this rapport? Because it matters why they want. It matters why they want the shoe that they want. Why is it important to them? How does the shoe change their life? How does it make them feel? These are the reasons why the rapport matters. Because if you don't know all of these things, guess what? You are never going to close that sale. And guess what? They will not tell you except you know how to build rapport with each and every one of them. So in this scenario, let's say Jory wants a Christian Louboutin shoe, right? What this tells me, a person who wants the Christian shoes, I can already see that, okay, you know what? She is a very, very, she's trying to portray some kind of like sexy. She likes to dress like really high-end. And yeah, and if she's married, she's 28. Okay, so for me, this person be a Ruby. They could actually both be Ruby. So Tamrin is a person that wants a Nike shoe. So maybe she wants to run with that, or she wants to be able to run better errands, or she wants to be able to go pick up her kids. That's up to them, right? And I'm not going to know that until I gather intelligence about them. The way I gather it, however, is called rapport. So how to build rapport. What you have to understand is that the thought process, the response, and the request of each gem type is different. Example, if you are selling your products in your service and you ask, what are you looking to get from our services? And, a Ruby will say to you, so, at the end of this, getting a service, I'm looking to get inclined base by about 10 more people, which should bring me to at least 50% or more what I'm doing now, but I'll be able to achieve all of my goals this year if I'm able to do that. So that's what I'm looking to get out of your service. The more achievement focused, whereas you have your Emerald, they will be very analytical. We will say to you something like, oh yeah, so basically once we get your service, we are looking to increase our database of clients by 13.3%, which that should definitely increase our our bottom line, and to definitely make a lot of sense for us in our organization as a whole. The Ruby is focused on the achievement, The emerald is focused on the analytical part of it and what that means for him in figure and in number and in statistics. Whereas the pearl will say, oh, so basically, if we get your service, what we're looking to get is that, everyone would be happy on my team because we'll be able to actually reach those marketing goals, and everyone would just be like really happy about that. And once everybody is happy, that would be really, really awesome. I would really want my team to feel that way. That's what a pearl will tell you. And when you ask a sapphire, you can, oh yeah, so we're going to achieve this goal that we have in our organization. And after that, at the end of the year, we are going to have like this big party, or we're all going to go to Ibiza because and I'm going to be recognized as the salesperson of the year. Ooh, that's gonna be really, really, really fun. Like it's gonna be crazy, That is your sapphire kind of response. The reason why this matters, the response process and the requests are different, is because when you are actually doing role plays and you say to a person, can you please just play Emerald? Maybe for some people there's nothing wrong with that, but for me personally, I like for people to just play themselves, because a person who is Emerald is got a different thought process, and their responses are different and their requests are different. A person who is Pearl, their thought process is different, their response is different, and their request is different, and so on and so forth. And so when you're telling someone in a role play, can you play an Emerald? And yeah, the person is giving you those questions that they're asking, but they're not really actually playing themselves because they don't have the thought process of that gentle type they're trying to actually imitate. So that's why I just personally prefer, for me, whoever I'm role playing with, to play themselves, because I want to know what you would say if this was an actual sales call, and it helps me to get better in my own understanding of how sales actually work. So so that's a very important thing to actually take note of, that the thought process, the response, and the request are different. In terms of requests, you get Ruby is asking you things like, okay, well, can I see like social proof, and like how many people have you actually taken through, actually achieved the results that you promised that they're going to achieve. Those are like requests Ruby will make. And Ruby and Emerald, their requests are kind of like the same, because they're trying to like just see that the process actually brings the product or the result that they actually want. The response obviously differ. They would say for a Pearl, they're more concerned about, so like, is there going to be someone who is going to support me if I don't actually understand this thing? And for Ruby to be, okay, so how long exactly is it going to take to do this, and how long can I expect to start getting result or ROI for my investment? And for an Emerald, he wants to know, so is this going to be charted now? What are the steps? What are the, he wants to be able to see the end before he gets started, because it helps him to be able to put everything in place. And for a Sapphire, he's just like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter as long as I learn the thing, and I'm just, is it going to be boring? Who's going to be teaching it? Like, how is it going to be? Because he's just more concerned about, I gotta have fun if I gotta do it. So how to build rapport with different gens. So here is the meat of all the rambling that we've been doing, which is identify the gen type using open-ended question. If you want open-ended question, like some of my favorite open-ended questions, you guys can just message me. I'll send them to you on Facebook. You identify the gen type using open-ended question. Whatever it is a person says, you can pick so much from that. And that's why I like to start my conversations using open-ended question. And one of my favorites to actually use is, so Kusha, why don't you, before we get into all of this, so why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? And so the person, sometimes they will say, oh, so what do you want to know? And you will know when you've broken rapport when the person says something like, well, their tone changes, or like, why do you want to know that? And it's important for you to be able to know when you've actually broken rapport, because then maybe if it's still in the beginning of the conversation before you get into pin, you can still try to get it back. But once you go further into the conversation, you're not going to be able to get it back. So the first thing is the gen type, using open-ended questions. And the second thing is to show them that you are interested by actively listening to them. When you go on role plays and people are just like, oh, so where do you live? And, oh, I live in Johannesburg, South Africa, with my husband and my stepson, and yeah, I run my own business here. Oh, okay, cool. So how'd you hear about us? Or they just ask whatever question, after that. It's like you're not really, really interested when you answering questions like that. When you and someone gives you a reply and you just move on to the next, it begins to feel like an interview. It feels like you're just asking me this stuff because it's on your script and you're just giving that to me. And I'm just like, now I'm just like not interested, because I'm just like, okay, cool. If we're going to do this call and you just want to know all those questions, okay, there you go, A, B, C, D. Can I go now? Okay, you give me the price now, right? So you have to show people that you're interested by actively listening. And the third thing is to establish personality commonality with your replies and your tonality. And we're going to look at that after the slide now. Yeah, so 3 things to keep in mind here, guys. Identify the gen type with using open-ended. Show them you're interested by actively listening, and establish personality commonality with your replies and tonality. So here is an example that I came up with. So using open-ended questions. So Ola, tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, I'm Ola. I'm self-employed. I run my business online and offline from Johannesburg, South Africa, where I live with my husband and stepson. So reply to Ruby would be, oh, Ola, well, that is awesome. I mean, business both online and offline. Wow, like that must really take someone really smart to actually do that. If your prospect is a Ruby, it's the same statement, but you're replying to a Ruby. Now, let's say you're replying to a Sapphire based on this particular question, this answer. Oh, I'm Ola, self-employed. I run my business online and offline from Johannesburg, South Africa, where I live with my husband and stepson. Sapphire response. Wow, Ola, so you live in Johannesburg. Well, that is really, really awesome. I mean, I've never been to Johannesburg, South Africa, but I was watching this YouTube video the other day and they were showing places in Southern Africa. I mean, it must be really, really fun to actually live in a place like that. I mean, the culture is so rich and so diverse. I mean, what do you like the most about Johannesburg? Oh, next needed question, right? That's a Sapphire response. It's still the same statement, but different response. And then we've got the pearl response. Oh, Ola, so you live in Johannesburg with your husband and your stepson. Wow, that's really awesome. I myself, I actually don't have a kid yet, but I'm actually pregnant now, and I'm looking forward to actually get my family started. I mean, it is like the most beautiful thing, isn't it? Pearl response. Emerald response would be something like this. Oh, wow. So, Ola, you run your business online and offline. You must be really, really organized to actually do something like that. Yeah, so that would be something for Emerald. So tips for the gem. For the Ruby, you want to show a funny side of yourself, because rubies are very serious. They just want to like get things done and just like move on to the next thing, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a Ruby myself, and just on a funny one, obviously. Just kidding. But you want to show a funny side of yourself, especially like in the opening before you actually get into the nitty-gritty of things. Because once you get into the business aspect of the conversation, it's going to be quite hard for you to actually now bring it back and like trying to get them to laugh. And So you want to show a funny side of yourself to try to get them to laugh. And for an emerald, you want to show them that, oh, there's actually structure, there's analysis, and all of those things that they like, which things neatly arranged, neatly presented, and all of that kind of stuff, which is great. And for sapphire, you want to show them that there's a lot of fun in this. It's not going to be boring, because otherwise they even fall asleep before the whole course actually gets started. And for pearls, you want to be able to show that you're going to support them through this no matter what, and everything is going to be fine. So yeah, that's everything, guys. And now we've got question and answers. Just give me a second. I just need to stop sharing. Does anyone have any question and answer? Okay. Oh, that's a good question. All right, so someone is actually asking that what if, okay, 1 second. All right, I'm gonna answer it in sequence. So someone is asking about just give me a second, guys. This is my first time of using webinar on my own account, so it's a little bit hectic. Someone is asking that if you know, you actually speaking to, should you be setting agenda before you go into rapport? And for me personally, I don't do that, because especially when it's B2C, because when you're doing rapport, and by the way, rapport is all through the conversation, guys. It's not just like one aspect of your conversation. All throughout your call, if you have to keep going with rapport. It's just at the beginning is obviously more important, so that the person doesn't actually jump off the call. But all through your call, you have rapport. And the reason as to why I always do rapport before agenda, whether it's B2B or B2C, is because I want the person to actually feel like they know me, feel like they like me, and they trust me before I actually move on. But when I get on a call and I say to the person, okay, Ben, or okay, Louis, you know, this is what the purpose of this call is. So I'm going to give you all the question and all the answer, and then we're just going to take it from there and see if it's a good fit. Sounds good? Now we're just strictly in business. He's not interested in listening to anything that I have to say, because he knows that I'm just there specifically for one reason and one reason only, to collect money from him. So I don't do that. So I always do my rapport before my agenda. And then another person is asking, what are your thoughts about pace and lead? Okay, so that's a very, very good question. And this is actually, this I'm not gonna actually go through like in this training, because that's like a whole different monster on its own. But your tonality, which is the pace and lead, is very, very, very important. And sometimes in my calls, I would actually stand up, because I'm trying to actually imitate myself standing up and actually talking to that person. Your tonality, which is your pace and lead, is very, very important. So like when you're, for example, talking to a pearl, and you're trying to use like a scarcity tone or whatever the case may be, there are different ways for you to actually do that. Let me see if I can actually unmute. Mustafa?
Yes, Olam. Kalmayacağım.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So you can go ahead and just give me like more clarity on this question so we can move ahead with the rest of the questions.
All right. So patient lead basically is you have to in the beginning you have to match the tonality of the prospect. You have to choose at least similar words to the prospect and what he has to say or she has to say. And then the last thing is the lead, right? So maybe like within like 30 seconds or 1 minute, however, whenever this prospect is like kind of starts feeling comfortable with you, you can also lead the conversation with like using your own tonality rather than using their own tonality. So I personally found that with the pace, I am actually like make the prospect kind of fall into my gem type a little bit. I'm not saying that he or she is going to completely change his own or her own gem type, but rather like she is kind of like pacing up with my tonality. So from there, I kind of feel like I have more control about it. So I just wanted to know more about your thoughts on that.
Right. So your question would be, so I'm just trying to get clarity on it, that you want to lead with your tonality for the prospect, yeah?
Yes, exactly. So sometimes for me, it is hard to mimic the tonality, especially when you have a lot of prospects coming in. It's kind of draining. So I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
save my energy by doing so.
Okay. Thank you for that. So basically, I hear what you're saying. You can. It depends on maybe how long you've actually been doing this. If I can, if you, for example, you've got a prospect on the phone and you know that, okay, maybe I want to use my scarcity tone first or my reasonable man or whatever the case may be, you want to do it in such a way that you present it as if it's their idea. So even though your one, I like to match their tune, but I still like to be myself. But remember, the score is not about you, it's about that person, right? So think about it that if someone is like talking like this, why would I want to talk like this? Make sense, Mustafa?
Yes, it does make sense. So, I was thinking about like me being thinking about myself. I was trying to be like more effective, but that's a good point. So, yeah, I would try to be like come from their perspective, not from mine. So yeah, that's a good feedback. Thank you.
Sure. What you want to do, to actually add on that, if you can, at the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned that these are some of the things that you should already know in terms of rapport. One of the books that of all time that I always recommend to read is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I recently, in one of our Facebook groups, I got someone, about two people, to actually do things that I wanted them to do for me, and they're going to be doing it for free. But the point is this, right? When I got on the call with them, I'm a Ruby. I really, really struggle with because I just can't match the tone. It's too low for me. But the call is not about, well, it was about me in this instance, but I'm trying to influence someone to do something for me, right? So what do
Mhm.
I do? It's like, oh, okay, so well, I can understand the reason as to why you would need everything to be in that order, because it all needs to be in an order that we can all understand so we all know where we're going to. I mean, does that make sense?
Yes, it
The
does.
okay. The point being that depends on your prospect. They will tell you how they want you to respond we do everything. When we say something, it means something. When our prospect says something, it means everything. Their tonality matters. What they're saying to us, we're actively listening to it. And however it is that they feel, we want them to feel like, you know what, I get you. I feel exactly the same way. And you can do that with your tonality. So, yeah.
Yes, like it is hard for rubies to match up with the tonality because, you know, we are more about the decisions, right? So yeah, I would try to adjust on that. Thank you.
Sure. Um, okay, let me just see. I've got another question here. Okay. Okay, I think I already answered that with. Yeah, so I already answered that question, but it's very important, guys, to just have rapport and like throughout, throughout the presentation, I was saying that this is not just something that is actually a thing for just salespeople. It's things that we can do in our daily life. And I mean, I didn't used to respect those things, but now going full time into sales, I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand the reason why they act this way. This is the reason why they act that way. You build rapport. Even when you're looking for influencers, you use the same exact thing. If the influencer is an emerald, you're doing the same thing. I'm going to be having another training, maybe in 2 weeks' time on influencer, what do you call it? Like an influencer location training, and the rapport that you actually build to actually get there. But even though it's business, it's still the same thing because everybody's got a gen type, and whether you're using the ruby, the sapphire, like the way we've done here, or you're using like the type A, type B, and kind of whatever, it's all people. And when you master how to actually do rapport with people, you master influence. And what that does for you is that you can bend their will according to what you want. And I always make it that we bending the wheel as salespeople, as business people, is not a bad thing. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for me today. If you guys have any question, please let me know. Otherwise, share with anybody that you feel like this is going to be beneficial to. I'm going to make notes of this. I'm going to put it in my group. If you want it, just DM me and I'll send you the link to it. Yeah, and if this was helpful at all to you guys, I just ask for one thing: connect with me on LinkedIn and do rate me based on this training. So that's pretty much it. And I'll see you guys later in Discord or on Facebook and virtually everywhere. I'm gonna go drink my coffee now at 4 p.m. Bye, guys. Thank you.